What's up, guys? This is episode 28 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody that supported the wave so far. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram TV for everybody that hasn't seen it. But without further ado, I have a special guest here today, the one and only Coach Ed Ryan from Pace University, or shall I say, assistant coach from Pace University. Coach, thank you for coming on to share your testimonial.
Thanks, Dave, man. Thank you for having me. Been listening to a lot of the episodes that you've been putting out and some great stuff. Especially now that we're all kind of at home and we might have a little bit extra time on our hands. It's good to get to hear about other people's journeys and even learn, from other people's experiences, while we're at home trying to make the best of it. So I think this is great, man.
All
Appreciate
right,
you having me on.
of course. So let's get started. My first question for you is, what's Ed Ryan's coaching philosophy?
Well, there's a lot of things that are important, but the main important thing for me and for what we do at Pace is just relationships. It's wanting to get close and connected with your guys because if you're going into the fire with them, we want to be as close and unified as possible. And in order to do that, it's more than just what play are we going to run or where should I go for this drill? You want to get connected with guys, personally, and basketball wise. I think you can get a lot more out of your guys if they're fully connected with you. And that's something that we try to do at Pace. My boss, Matt Healing, is really big on it. And it certainly has rubbed off on me. And just something that, whether it's academics, basketball, personal life, whatever it is, just trying to build a relationship with the guys so that they know that, they can count on you and ultimately you can count on them.
Indeed. So, when did basketball start in your life?
Basketball, I come from a family with a lot of boys in it. I have two brothers, one sister. So we're a family of four. And my dad comes from a family of four also, where he had all, three brothers. All four were boys and they all grew up playing sports. So, when I was really young, every time we had, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, we're going over to the house, we're all getting together and somehow it would turn into some form of a 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 basketball game in my grandma's backyard. Uncles kind of, talking smack to each other and me and my brothers talking smack to each other. And we just started from there. So as a really young kid, I probably was learning basketball, as early as 5. And just something I fell in love with along the way. So, it's been a good experience for me and those guys. Shout out to my uncles. They taught me some lessons back there, on the court at grandma's house for sure.
So, what part of New Jersey are you from?
I'm from Rutherford, which, I know a lot of your listeners are out of the New York City area, which is, Rutherford's maybe about 5, maybe 7 miles west of the city. I live right by MetLife Stadium where the Giants and Jets play. So it's just a quick ride or train to get into the city from there. But it's a beautiful area, Bergen County. I've been there, raised there my whole life, and I certainly enjoy it.
As a kid, were you a New Jersey Nets fan?
I grew up a Knicks fan. Unfortunately,
oh, wow.
Unfortunately, that hasn't been going too well as of late. But as a kid, I did get to go to a lot of Nets games too, because it was right in our backyard. But I grew up really, the time when I was, 10, 12 years old was when the Knicks were good, with Starks and Ewing and Oakley. And it was really exciting time in this area. So, Starks was probably my favorite player back in the day as a young kid. You go out in the driveway and try to imitate some things that he was doing. And then unfortunately, watching Michael Jordan, beat them over and over and over again was also part of my youth.
So, When you were younger, what tournaments did you like to play in?
Excuse me again?
What tournaments did you like to play in as a youngster?
Oh, when I was young, they had this really big tournament that was run by a friend of mine who actually passed away, Dennis Gregory. He ran the Metro Classic at Seton Hall.
Oh, wow.
And if I wasn't, before high school, when I wasn't playing, because it was a lot of the high level high school teams that were in it, I would actually work it. And I'd go and spend the whole day there at Seton Hall, whether it was whatever he needed me to do, sell water, T-shirts, whatever. And I got a chance to see some high level basketball. There's a lot of kids in the gym at the same time. I was a gym rat. I just wanted to be in a gym all the day, all the time. So, but that was a big tournament back in the day. And then at the high school level here in Bergen County, they have a thing called the Bergen County Jamboree, which is, a countywide tournament, small schools, big schools. Typically the bigger, the bigger powers are Don Bosco and Bergen Catholic, and those guys are putting themselves in position to win it every year. But it's a really cool tournament to see even the small public schools, get on the stage and play, a high level opponent and try to make the upset. So it has kind of a little bit of a March Madness feel to it. And it's always been a good tournament to either play in or to go as a spectator or coach recruiter.
Mm. So then you went to St. Mary's in Rutherford for 4 years. Talk about your high school days.
So St. Mary's, my father and his three brothers all graduated from St. Mary's back in the 70s. It's a small little private Catholic school in my hometown. So when I was raised, we didn't really have a choice. We were going to St. Mary's, and I can't say that was a bad decision. It was amazing for me. I had a great experience there. I still have connections with friends. My coaches, my high school coach is actually the athletic director there now, and Coach Stone is a good friend and somebody that I can call and talk to and still get advice from to this day. So. I had a great experience there, played 4 years, varsity 3 years. We had I think might have been my sophomore year is when we had our best team that we had. And we ended up making it to the Bergen County Jamboree quarterfinals. We lost to Teaneck that year. And then in the state tournament, we actually hosted St. Pat's in our gym, back in the day. And they had Mike Nardi, who went to Villanova. He was actually, I think he was a freshman on that team, and he was starting for them. They had some really, obviously some high level players have come through there. But again, just a great experience. They ultimately they beat us and they moved on, but I had a chance to meet some people and do some things that, I might not have otherwise been able to do. So, it was a really good experience for me.
So then from there, you went to Misericordia University in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Misericordia is another small D3 school in Pennsylvania. That was an excellent decision for me to go there. I was able to play for 4 years, had a good career. I played with some incredible teammates. Even at the Division III level, you get there and everybody, when you get to college, they all think that, they were good in high school and everything. And then, even at that D3 level, I got there and I was surrounded by some players that I thought were pretty darn good. And that's where I kind of learned that, you got to do other things than score, to get on the court, playing defense and just outworking people. That's kind of where I learned that. It was instilled in me as a young kid, but then when you get to the college level, you have to scratch and claw for everything that you're going to get. Nothing's ever given. And that was kind of my coaches there, Coach Woodruff, Coach Martin. They did a great job with us. And, I had another time where I had a really good experience. And those 4 years really built me, in my opinion, into who I am today.
Now, from Misericordia, you went back to St. Mary's. Oh, I'm sorry, Rutherford High School. So that was a public school, right?
Yeah. So funny thing is that when I was at Misericordia, I was actually, I was studying law. I was going to go to law school. I was getting ready to take the LSAT and start applying and all that stuff. And then when my senior season was over, you know, you just kind of sit that back and you reflect and you think about, you know, man, I don't have any more practice. I don't have any more games. You know, my career is done. And for so long, you know, every day I woke up and you go to school, and then when school's over, you got practice, or you go to the gym and you get extra shots up, or you work out. And I was just like, I'm not ready to stop doing that. So as soon as my career was over, I kind of made the decision that I was going to scrap law school for now. And I wanted to get into coaching because, like I said, I wasn't ready to not have practice every day. You know, to not be involved with the game. And when I got home from school, Rutherford is my local high school. Their coach was somebody that I actually knew. He's a little bit older than me, but he was a guy from town that had a good career at Rutherford, and Coach Gascione told me that he would have a spot for me if I wanted to coach on his varsity team. So the second I graduated college, I was home already in the gym, summer workouts, being around his guys, and he gave me my first start. So for 2 years, I did a varsity assistant for him. And again, just 22 years old out of college, not knowing anything about coaching. You know, it was unbelievable for him to give me that experience and really start to teach me some things that I didn't know.
That's amazing. So after that, you went to the college route to Centenary University.
Yeah. So I did 2 years at Rutherford, and my head coach at the time, Coach Gascione, had told me that if I wanted to get into college coaching, I should start working camps and doing the camp circuit. I ended up getting connected with the hoop group, and I was working out at Pocono and working their elite camp, and while I was doing that, I got an opportunity for a job at Centenary, which was one of my assistant coaches at Misericordia that I played under, Coach Mastriani. He got the job at Centenary, and was able to bring me on with him. And you know, 12 years later now, you know, it's the rest is history, I guess. But that was really cool too, because again, you know, just at that point, I'm like, what am I, 24 years old? You know, I've never coached college before. I don't know anything about it. But I was able to, you know, the relationship that I had with Coach Mastriani at Misericordia as a player certainly carried over to that relationship as a coach. And he really, you know, showed me the ropes and taught me things again that I had never known or maybe even thought of. So, you know, he gave me my first start in the college game, and I couldn't be more thankful for that.
Now, you all at one point you also did the Villanova basketball camp.
I did. I worked their summer camp a couple years. That was really cool. You know, it was a youth camp, so the players weren't like, it wasn't like, you know, 17 or 18-year-old kids you were coaching. You were coaching smaller guys, younger guys. But the Villanova staff did such a good job. They had a lot of local high school and young college guys that were working the camp. And, you know, when the camp was over, one day they took us all out for like a coach's social where they got us food and you're able to just meet and network with people. One day they had like a chalk talk session where you could ask, you know, any, you know, guys on their staff questions about things that they do. And, you know, they were just really accessible. And that's another thing that opened my eyes up to, you know, the ability that you can just learn and soak in things and just be a sponge. And you know, it's not a bad thing to quote unquote, you know, steal something from somebody else. You know, there's a lot of good drills and a lot of good ideas out there. And you know, as coaches, when we all get to sit down and talk and have access to each other, you know, we can all learn a lot of things.
So this leads us into Caldwell. You guys had a good 5 years there during your tenure. Let me see. Uh, 3 winning seasons with 17 or more wins.
Yeah, we had we had a really good run at Caldwell when I was there. So when I left Centenary, I was at Centenary long enough where I was able to, to get my master's degree from there. So just another thing I'll throw in, very grateful for that. I was able to get that in leadership and public administration. So after that, I had the opportunity to go to Caldwell and work for Mark Carino, who is, if you know New Jersey basketball, you know Mark Carino. He's a legend around here. He's got almost 600 wins, I think, and I was able to learn a lot from him. And those 4 years that I was there, we had 3 winning seasons. We beat a Division I team. We played Binghamton in a regular season game and actually went up there and beat them. That was really a special experience. And we won a decent amount of games while I was there. But most importantly, it's all about the relationships. Those guys the coaching staff that we had there. They're some of my best friends in coaching. We still talk to this day. Even though I moved on from there to Pace, but we have great relationships and the players too. There's kids that I coach there that still talk to me, to this day. If they hear something that's going on in my life, they'll shoot me a text. Hey coach, happy birthday, or hey, heard you guys had a big win or anything like that. And that's really what it's all about, and that's why my time there was very special.
And then during that time, you guys beat Binghamton.
Yeah.
Was this game played at Caldwell or up in Binghamton?
No, that game was up in Binghamton. It was a regular season game. Coach Carino had played a bunch of Division I teams, but I'd never had a win. And that was his first and the program's first win over a Division I team. It was really, really special. I mean, Binghamton, Coach Dempsey does a great job with his program, but at that time, I think they had some injuries or whatever. But I don't want to take away from our guys because they played really hard and they were able to go up there and beat them in their own home gym. It was pretty special, and we had a pretty good team that year too. We had a kid, Mike Balkovic, that had like 1,900 points and 1,000 rebounds for his career. We had a point guard that started every game for 4 years, Kevin Walker, who was out of St. Peter's Prep in Bayonne area. But we had we had a couple of special guys, and actually I think 3 or 4 of those guys went on to play overseas. So we did have we had a pretty good setup that year.
So then enter Pace. How did the Pace opportunity come about?
So Pace, my head coach, Matt Healing, him and I actually worked together at Centenary back in the beginning of my journey, back in like 2008. Him and I worked together on staff there as Division III assistants, and then he left Centenary to go to a different school, and then his path led him back to Pace, and he got the head coaching job, and obviously I left Centenary and went to Caldwell, and then when he was able to get that head coaching opportunity, I was blessed and fortunate that he wanted to bring me on, and for the last 5 years now we've been doing things at Pace, and Coach Healing has really transformed that program. From a team that wasn't very good at the time we got there to now a team that's just coming off, a really, really high level season.
So let's talk about Pace University, the school. Like break down the school.
All right. Well, you're saying you want me to try to convince you to come to Pace?
But no. This is mainly for all the students, student athletes that need to know about Pace.
No, I got Pace is it's really an amazing place. From a Division II standpoint, especially in the New York City area, I do sometimes think it gets overlooked because of all the Division I hype in the area, whether it's St. John's or Seton Hall or whoever. there are some really good high-level basketball being played just north of the city in Pleasantville, and we have an amazing campus and an amazing arena. And I think you can speak for that. You've been there before. But our school it's tucked away just about, like I said, 30, 40 minutes north of the city. It's a nice suburban setting with outdoor fields, and it's a beautiful walking campus, brand new dorms. We kind of have a lot to offer from that respect. And then the really cool part about it is we have a campus in downtown New York City, which a lot of people are familiar with. The Pace New York City campus, which is over by the Brooklyn Bridge in downtown Manhattan. And that really connects us with the city. And that really helps not only our student athletes, but all of our students in their ability to really hit the job market running. When you bring your Pace degree down to New York City, people don't ask you where's the school or whatever. Everybody knows Pace, and we have a really good reputation, particularly in the New York City area. And it allows our kids to get internships, jobs, interviews, and it's really something that we sell. Not only as myself as a recruiter, as we're trying to recruit some high-level student athletes, but our university as a whole. Just bringing in the student body population. We had a good product to sell, and a beautiful, like I said, a beautiful campus. And from athletics wise, we're doing some really good things on the court and in our entire department as well.
Talk about the Northeast 10 Conference. Is it as good or better than than some of the mid-major Division I conferences?
I mean, that just to answer the first part about the Northeast 10 Conference is a grind. There's some really, really good teams and some really, really good coaches too. We got there's guys in our league that have been coaching for 30, 40 years and have been winning for that long too. And then, there's a lot of younger coaches as well that are up and coming and doing a great job also. But our basketball from a talent standpoint, I do think it's on par with the low Division I level. There are times where, it's happened for us before where we've had kids that have had Division I offers that have ended up coming to Pace and choosing us as opposed to going Division I. And that speaks a lot about what you have as a program and your school and what you can sell kids. But from a basketball talent standpoint, whether they're Division I transfers that come back or they were guys that just fell through the cracks from a Division I standpoint, but the talent level is really, really high. I'd put our league up against just about anybody.
So speaking of Division I players, I'm pretty sure you guys have had Division I players come to your program. Like, how easy is it to get, the Division I transfers to come to a school like Pace?
Well, I mean, it's nothing's ever easy. Like I said, I think we have a good product to sell and we have a lot of things that are working for us, but there's a lot of good schools out there and there's a lot of good recruiters and kids are usually being courted by 1, 2, 3, 4, however many schools and obviously you're trying to get them to pick yours, but from a Division I standpoint, like I think that we've been able to have success because we've been able to get some guys that are from our area that may have left the area, and then we were able to bring them back home. The last couple of years, we've had at least one transfer on our team, that was in a situation like that. And then we've also built it with having young guys that you can kind of grow and develop in your program. And then when they get to junior and senior year, they're mature, they're ready, they're experienced, and they can really start to make some waves. And that's kind of where we are right now as a program, in terms of having upperclassmen, having guys with a lot of experience, and then reaping the benefits of that.
So this is probably going to be your favorite segment of this interview. So one player that you always talk about, Brandon Jacobs. Talk to us, for those that may not know about him, break him down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't say enough about BJ, man. This probably will be my favorite part of the interview. But you know, Brandon's a kid that came to Pace out of Lehigh. He was a highly touted high school player, but he believed in Coach Healing and he trusted in us. And now, you know, he's going to be going into his senior year, and he's already broken records at our school, and he's already put himself in position to be, in my opinion, you know, one of the best players that's come through Pace. But he's got one more year to go. He texted me not too long ago and told me year 4 was going to be the best one. So, I'm hoping we can see that. But he works extremely hard. He puts in the time, and I couldn't be happier for somebody like him, man. He's a special kid.
Well, this past season, I mean, a school that you guys used to play on the regular, Merrimack, they moved on to Division One, the Division One scene, and they won 20 plus games. Like how does it feel seeing a team that played in your conference move up to the Division One level? And do you guys miss playing Merrimack?
Well, you asked the question earlier about how good our league is and then compare it to some other leagues, and I think Merrimack's a great example for that, just because for a lot of people that don't know Division II and maybe they don't know the Northeast 10, Merrimack was one of the better teams in our league, and just as you said, they left and they went to the NEC, and they actually won the regular season title this year in their first year as a Division I team. So that can give you some insight as to how good the competition is in the NE10. But as far as missing playing them, I don't know about that, man. They Coach Gallo does a good job. They Coach Mickey is their assistant there as well. They run a 2-3 zone that's unlike anything that you might see, and it's definitely hard to score against. So I did not miss that we didn't have to prepare for that this year.
Shout outs to Coach Gallo. He was also one of my guests.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man, good dude.
Coach Guy, he's a great coach, and they're going to do really well. Just because him and his staff. I mean, they're another group of hardworking guys, and they've built that program, and I was happy to see them have some success. Wasn't upset that I didn't have Javaris Hayes trapping me, trapping our point guard and trying to steal the ball from us. Javaris was I think he led the nation in steals for Division II as a junior. So definitely didn't miss that.
So back to Pace. Talk about, this past season.
I mean, this year, this was year 5 for us in the program under Coach Healing, and year 4 was a good one. We won 16 games. We started to get a little bit of recognition for our players and the amount of work that they're putting in. And then this year, we were really hoping that we could carry that over and improve even more. And we were able to do that. I mean, we ended up with 19 wins this past year, which is, the most that Pace has had in a while. And, we ended up getting a lot of recognition for our guys, besides Brandon being all conference and breaking program records. We had our starting front court player, Peyton Weiner, was one of the better players in the league. And he was a first team all league performer. And, but, it really started with, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when those guys were freshmen and sophomores and they were playing, and maybe we weren't winning 19 games then, but they were building experience. They were building togetherness. And it really came out this year when we started out 9-0. We got ranked in the top 25 for Division II at one point, and it really catapulted us into a pretty successful season. Ultimately, we fell just short of our goal. We wanted to make the NCAA tournament, and we were just on the outside of the bubble. So when they announced the teams, we were one of those bubble teams that was sitting there, and then was on the wrong side of the bubble. But 19 wins, like I said, top 25 ranking, 9-0 was the best start in school history. So just couldn't be more proud of our guys and the way that they put themselves on the map throughout this entire season. And I'm hoping that, we can catapult that next year into even bigger and take that next step.
So you guys lost Ray Montilus and Tyrone Cohen to graduation. What will you miss about the two of them?
Oh, those guys are they are tough. They are team first players. Both of those guys are guys that could have scored more points, maybe if they were on another team or got more shots. But they both had an elite ability to defend, and they both were phenomenal teammates and players. I loved working with them. Ray was here for 4 years, and he got better every year. He's somebody that we're going to miss just from his leadership and his ability to keep guys together and play, team basketball. A lot of guys like to play with him. And then Tyrone he was only here for 2 years. He was one of those junior college transfers that we got to come back home to New York. And he's tough, man. This year, coming down the stretch of the year, he had some really big games for us, made some really tough shots, and just the moment was never too big for him. He wanted to be on a big stage and guard the other team's best player and be ready to knock down a big time three. We're going to miss that toughness and that grit from him for sure. And they're both funny guys too, to be honest with you. They were good locker room dudes and they did a good job of like I said, just uniting everybody and being together. So that's something we're definitely going to miss.
So this coming season, you guys have a pretty good recruiting class coming in. Let's see. I'm looking at the Instagram page right now. Aiden Hildebrand from Iona Prep, Karen Dorney from Chaminade in Long Island, Chris Parsons from the Patrick School, and Dyson Frank from Orangeville Prep in Canada, and obviously Dom Cristiano. He's a Westchester kid. Talk about, that class.
Well, we're really excited about those guys. Dom is going to come in as a grad transfer and losing Peyton this year as a senior, and having Dom come in, just being an older player and having a lot of experience under his belt, I think will be valuable for our team. Dyson, somebody we're really excited about as a freshman. He's got a chance to be really good. 6'7", shoots the ball really well. And Kieran the same. Kieran's big, 6'6", 6'7". Another guy who's got extreme potential that we're really excited about, and we're hoping he can come in and he also shoots the ball pretty well too, and can hopefully help us stretch the defense on the perimeter. Kirk from the Patrick School, he's tough. He's in my opinion, I think he's a little under the radar, but he's tough when Brandon graduates, I think Kirk Parsons is gonna have a chance to really show what he can do, and we're excited about him as well. And Aiden is just, I know you cover the New York City Catholic League a lot. Aiden he's a tough kid, man. And that was one of the things that we were drawn to with him, is just another guy who's not afraid of the moment, and he's tough. And that's kind of what we build our program around. We want kids that are tough, that are not shy. They're not afraid. They're willing to do whatever they need to do, whether that's running extra laps or getting an extra weight training session in, or getting extra shots up, or diving on the floor for a loose ball. Those are the kind of guys we want in our program, and we think that with this class, we got a bunch of them in there.
Now, this is one of my favorite questions that I'm pretty sure you've probably seen. If you could go back to 2002, what would you tell a young Ed Ryan at 22 as he's going into coaching?
Man, at 22, I would go back and, I would probably tell myself one thing. I guess I don't want to say that I don't want to say I regret, because I love every step of my journey. But I would even tell my younger self, you know, because you're going to take risks in this business, but take even more risks, you know, when you're young and you're 22. You know, don't be afraid to go work a camp that's out of the area, or you know, in a go meet people that you haven't met before. You know, expand your network, take risks, because it's going to pay off in the end. This is all about, just as with play relationships, you're also trying to build relationships with coaches too. So, you know, I've been fortunate enough to do that, and it's helped me in my path. But I would even tell my younger self to put yourself out on the line even more, because there are really good people out there that are really willing to help young coaches, and that's something that, because, you know, people did it for me, and that's something, you know, I'd love to pay forward.
So, final question: what's next in the future for Ed Ryan and the Pace University squad?
The future is the future. You know, we're really excited about getting back to work with our guys in the fall and continuing to build, you know, what we've been doing. So it's really exciting time. You know, by these last couple of years, we've been kind of up in the ante, and then finally getting to 19 wins this year. It's going to be really interesting, and really cool to see if we can keep it going and get to 20, 22 wins, and hopefully get in the NCAA tournament. And I think we got the guys to do it. You know, I'm just, you know, as we all are sitting here and haven't been able to go out for 3 months or whatever, you know, like, you know, just like a bunch of other coaches, I think what's next is we're all ready to get back in the gym.
We all are.
That's what's next. We're all ready to, you know, it would be great if I could, if when we hung up this phone call, I could go to a summer league game right now and go watch some kids play. But, you know, so ultimately what's next for us is I think is just the excitement of getting back together is going to be something that's really cool after not being with one another for so long.
Well, thank you, Coach, for coming on to share your story. And I wish you nothing but the best with Pace moving forward.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. You know, just one thing, if I could say at the end, I love what you're doing. You know, the message that you put out and the exposure you get for New York City basketball is phenomenal. I hope you can continue to do that in the future.
Well, that sums up this episode 28, Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. And go check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. Stay safe, be blessed. Peace.
Thank you.